Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. This is episode number 7, and as you can tell, the snow is gone. Thankfully, the rain came after the snow, and the temperatures warmed up just a bit, and the snow melted into the soil. And well, everything is once again right with the world, and we can also, that rain helped us out. Our grass is growing, and I believe we're ready to actually cut. Yeah, we could actually cut grass if we wanted to this episode or today. We're not going to. We're going to wait just a little bit. I need to, well, first of all, um, Billy Bob is over in field number, where is he? He is over in field number 42, spreading lime on that field. Jack is busy working on this cedar because we need to get it ready to go for corn. We've still got a bit of canola to plant with this one here, and we'll get to that momentarily. But I might have mentioned in episode number 6 that our John Deere dealership brought us down this cultivator, wanted us to try it, and so we're going to go and we're going to do that. We're going to go and actually try to see how this thing works out. We're going to go cultivate one of these smaller fields back here behind, what field is that? Back here behind field number 32. Over there, field number 30, I think, is where we're going to go and cultivate that guy. And hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Things are going just swimmingly, fantastic here in the real world, both for me as well as going pretty darn well here on Lone Oak Farm as well. Just for the sake of bringing you all up here after the save is done, as you can tell, we are, where are we? Field number 32 is wheat, field 28 is wheat, and 29 is wheat. We are still growing, so we did not spoil those seeds, at least not yet. We haven't. So I am hopeful that all of that is still going to work out for us. The temperatures did drop into the upper 30s. The soil temperature did. But as you can tell, we are climbing back up again with a soil temperature of 43 degrees. So I guess maybe that was a nice warm rain that we got, maybe, hopefully. And we will go ahead and get this guy here unfolded and get over here in this field. And like I said, we're gonna try this cultivator out, and if it works out well for us, then I think we're probably going to go ahead and make a trade for it because we are going to be, unless something else happens, I am planning on trying to play this map more than 1 year, more than one year season, and we're going to be not only planting all the crops that we said that we were going to plant, but also probably doing a cover crop over the late fall, winter, early spring time frame. And so we're gonna need to be working our fields, cultivating them and everything between probably between harvests and everything. And so having a nice large cultivator will certainly come in handy for us, I do believe. Cultivating is, I don't dislike cultivating as much as I dislike plowing. And I don't really dislike plowing. I suppose I dislike plowing in the respect that let me get a screenshot right quick before our before our guy is out here, or before Billy Bob gets done. Let me lower that down, and I'm going to just drive forward just a little bit, get some dirt headed back there. I think I'll do it from this side over here and grab the screenshot. All right. So we'll bring our HUDs back up here, which will lift our cultivator because for whatever reason it's tied to that key, and we'll get moving. I don't dislike, let me back up a little bit. I don't dislike cultivating as much as I dislike plowing, only in the sense that at least we have some larger cultivators in default wise. And of course, I don't dislike plowing as long as I have fields that are large enough to kind of justify using that nice big John Deere plow that's about as wide as this cultivator is. But I did check this one out on the real world John Deere side, and it basically, there is a 5-section John Deere cultivator that resembles this model, and so we are not completely too far-fetched here with what we're doing. But I will just say this: if you are into flight sim, I'm not going to spend this entire episode talking about flight sim, although I do tend to kind of do that sometimes. There was some really big news that hit recently about the flight simulation hobby, and I'm recording this episode in the real world on the very last day of September, the 30th of September. It's late in the evening, my time. I've already heard from my good buddy Duckzorly that October entered his time zone just fine, so I expect smooth sailing once October decides to rear its head here in my time zone. But it is the last day of September, and some big news, like I said, hit the flight simulation hobby. As you might know, I don't know if I talked about it or not, because I'm not sure kind of what was going on in the time frame when I last recorded an episode of Farm Sim before I took my long hiatus. But Microsoft had announced back in June that it was getting back into the flight simulation hobby software market, and of course Microsoft really is responsible for the boom in the flight simulation hobby. Of course, Microsoft was not the first. It was actually a program developer called Sublogic that was actually the first flight simulator that came out both for the Apple products back in the late 70s, and the Commodore 64 was when I got my first taste of flight simulation. Well, anyway, Microsoft, as you all know, if you know anything about it, did sort of stop developing software for it after FSX. They came out with Microsoft Flight, but it was kind of really not geared to the hardcore simulation enthusiast. Well, they picked things back up, and they are developing what they are calling Microsoft Flight Simulator, and most everyone else has kind of tacked on 2020 to that because it is expected to release next year in 2020. But they have come out, they invited some folks out to Renton, Washington, to see how things look from basically this standpoint, as far as how the game has developed and everything. And they have more or less admitted, even back in June, that they were developing this for the hardcore flight simmer, and that essentially, they had been listening, and they were willing to more or less sort of right all the wrongs that have transpired since the days of FSX. And what I will just say, that if you're interested in seeing more and learning perhaps more about this new entry into the flight simulation software market, go over to grizzlybearsims.com. That's my blog site, and take a look at the blog article that I wrote and published on the 30th of September. And I have a video that's about 30 minutes in length, but it shows a lot of the footage that is the current state of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and also talks a little bit about the roadmap and some of the stuff that we can expect. And let me just tell you that it is sort of a blow your socks off presentation from a graphics perspective and everything, especially if you have any experience with flight simulation, especially on the Microsoft side of things. You are going to be just absolutely impressed with this. And then the other bit of flight simulation news that we've had in the last couple of days is that the new audio for VATSIM is going to be released on the 14th of October. Now, I published a blog article that will actually debut tomorrow, the 1st of October, where I talked a little bit about it and linked to an article or two that I wrote a couple of months ago regarding a beta test that I participated in with the new audio for VATSIM and how special that's going to be. And especially if you have any experience on the VATSIM network and you have struggled with the very poor audio quality that has been VATSIM for the last decade or more, then you will certainly enjoy the news of the new system going live on the 14th of October. All right, so enough about all that stuff. I may comment some more about flight simulation later on down the road as I kind of learn more about it and have an opportunity to see more videos and stuff like that. But for right now, you've tuned in to watch Farm Sim, and that's what we're going to be doing. Now, like I said at the top of the show, Billy Bob is off spreading lime, and hopefully he's doing a good job of that. He is down on one of the other fields that I think will end up being, let's see, he is down on 42, I believe, and I think that is going to end up being a cornfield. I think I've got my notes here in front of me, but for whatever reason, I can't read my own hen scratch. But also, I don't have a very good light right now above my gaming desk. I've got the light that's above me turned off because I kind of like to sit in a little bit of a darkened room and in game, and so I can't really read what I wrote down. But anyway, we'll get to that. This field and the field behind me are going to be canola fields, and we will get to that very soon. Actually, may even do some of that work off camera, and then that way we can kind of bring you on in down the road as we get a little bit further in our progress. We do have quite a few fields to tend to over the course of the next several weeks as we get closer in, or get further into the spring, I should say. And then of course we'll have to wait for other certain soil conditions to come about before we can plant corn. Let me just kind of take a peek at this here. So corn, we're waiting for 50 degrees, of course 50 degrees on soybeans as well. So we probably, I mean, I'm hoping, and of course 61 for the cotton field that we plan to plant. But I'm kind of hoping that perhaps maybe, just maybe, these wheat fields will allow us to double crop those this particular season. But I don't know. I mean, considering that we got snow in game day number 3, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for us as far as being able to double crop those fields, considering that we don't have any growth visible at this particular point in time. But then again, we are playing 9 game days per season, so we're not even, well, I suppose in a couple of hours and a couple of game hours here, as it's just 9 o'clock on game day number 4, we will be about halfway through the spring season. But unfortunately, I took a peek at the weather forecast that the Weather Channel had put out, and we've got more rain coming in a couple of days. So we're going to need to, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and just bring up the seasons menu one more time so we can take a look at this together. We've got today, and then we've got tomorrow, where we've got cloudy today, sun tomorrow, and then we've got rain coming again possibly Monday. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on, I think this represents maybe the last game day of spring. We've got more rain coming. So we are going to need to think about and think very seriously about getting that first cutting of grass done in the next, maybe even possibly later in this game day. And of course, that might be what we're doing in episode number, what would that be? Episode number 8, I think it is. Yes. That might be what we're going to be doing in that episode, is cutting a little grass so that we can start getting our grass turned into hay, because we certainly do not want to lose any grass that has not properly dried out, and also that we don't have time to actually bale, because of course we are going to have to not only cut the grass but tether it and let it dry, because obviously seasons has been updated to the standpoint that we will have to do that. we'll have to let it dry on its own sort of own terms, and then get that gathered up into windrows, and then obviously bale it. So some of that grass, some grass fields, we will actually pick the grass up from the field and store that in our silage bunker and get that covered up. And hopefully we'll get some silage momentarily. And yeah, so basically this field to the left and this field to the right are wheat, I believe. No, this field to the left is wheat. 32 is wheat, and then we've got 2 fields of wheat over there. So won't have too far to carry and transport the straw, but that will also be baled because we do not have any capacity to store loose material like that. Well, I think that this particular cultivator is going to work out quite well. I'll give the guys down at the John Deere dealership a call later and see what we can come up with as far as some pricing is concerned, because I think we're going to want to go ahead and pick this bad boy up. All right, so we are going to shut our engine off, and I think what we're going to do for the remainder of the time that we have together, which may be about another 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and just grab this seeder here, and we need to change that over to canola, and there is our canola, and we're going to go ahead and go spin around, and we're going to head over there and go ahead and start putting canola in the ground in the field that we just harvested, or cultivated, I'm sorry, my bad. Looks like we have another box of eggs over there as well, so we'll get those picked up next time we pass by there. And looks like Billy Bob is done as well, so he'll just sit over there and read his comic book until I get done with this episode. And looks like we paid him $353 for something or another. Hope that was money well spent. And this field here, we actually need to get Billy Bob over here because he needs to lime this field number 31, and then we need to plow that field as well. We did not need to plow this field this particular time. All right, let's roll the camera back just a little bit. And we'll just put us a headland in here to give us a little bit more space between these 2 fields here, where we can turn around. I suppose we should have went the other direction, but that's okay. We can make that correction right down here. Well, also I'm pleased to report that the majority of the work that I had been talking about the previous 2 episodes, all the ladder work, all the DIY stuff, the majority, I would say about 75 to 80%, did get completed more or less as I had planned for it to. We managed to get the 2 new lights installed, and if you are a member of my Discord, if you're a member of my Discord server, then you may have seen some photos that I posted over the weekend. I took some photos, or my wife actually took some photos as well, of me up on the high ladder. And let's see, let's go ahead and drop us down, and we'll set our AB lines here, A and B, and lock it in. So my wife took some pictures as well of me up on the high ladder, and that worked out great. That ladder was fantastic. I got that at Home Depot. It's made by the Gorilla Ladder Company, I think, or Gorilla Manufacturing or something like that, and there were no monkeys involved with it, but it worked out fantastic. And it was one of those ladders that is you can put it into different configurations. You can make it a double-sided A-frame, and what I mean by double-sided, and this came in really handy when it was in its A-frame configuration, is, you know, most typical ladders, even in an A-frame configuration, and I did it again, didn't I? I forgot to set the width on this bad guy. Let me turn off my GPS so I've got better control of my tractor. And I always forget to do this. And my apologies, because I always forget to set the auto width. I don't know why that won't just automatically do it, but it doesn't. But anyway, in the A-frame configuration, both sides of the ladder are usable. Now, of course, the ladder has a 375-pound weight limit to it, so you would have to be careful and not make sure that if two people were on the ladder at the same time, and I don't know if that's necessarily the recommended use of it, but what's cool about it is when you have it set up in an A-frame configuration, and let's say, for example, you are painting and you're painting a wall or a ceiling or whatever, and you're working on one side of the A-frame. Well, in a traditional ladder, you've got to stop, you've got to obviously climb down, you've got to move the ladder a little ways. And let's go ahead and get our camera lined up here, and we're going to set our AB lines again. So in a traditional ladder, you obviously have to climb down, you have to move the ladder. Well, with this type of setup, with this type of system, you can actually climb down and then climb up on the other side. Like I said, it's both sides are usable. And so this came in really handy because, again, when you're painting like a ceiling or something or a wall, and especially if you don't want to have to move the ladder and everything, especially if it's pretty tall, if it's high, that's a lot of extra work. And then, of course, in the regular extension ladder configuration, which you can also set it up to do, it extends up about, I think it's about 26, 28 feet, something like that. So it'll serve my needs for exterior, for outside work, as well as interior stuff as well. So I don't think I will ever need another ladder, at least as long as I have this thing. And I more or less decided, I was telling my wife that when we bought the house about 16 years ago, we had the house painted. We had the inside of the house painted. And we were both, at that particular point in time, we were both very busy with our careers. And we had just moved in, and the last thing that we really wanted to do, and of course we were coming from an apartment, type living environment, and the last thing that we really wanted to do was paint the interior of the house. So we had it done. And it was quite a pricey project to have done. Well, that was about 16 years ago. And I told my wife, as I climbed up to about 16 feet, my head was about 16, 17 feet above the floor yesterday, I told her, I said, well, when it comes around time to paint this room again, and this is the big room inside, I said, I'm going to be too old to be doing this. She agreed, laughingly. She agreed, and she said, well, we probably won't be living here at that particular point in time because, as I have possibly said before, as soon as we retire, we are planning on leaving Colorado. We have no loyalty to Colorado whatsoever, and Denver is so crowded. It's growing so much, and I think for all the wrong reasons, and I'm not going to go into all the debate on the whole legalized recreational marijuana and stuff like that, but I will just say that is what has brought a lot of people to Colorado, and that's what has caused the boom and everything, I think, to occur over the last several years. And we're just basically ready for something a little more rural, a little more slower paced, a little more laid back. I'm sort of thinking going back to Texas might be one of our best options. But anyway, retirement for me, if everything goes well, is less than 10 years away. It's possibly as little as 8 years away. It really just depends. It depends on a lot of things. But so hopefully hopefully, as I said, the next time this room needs to be painted, it's going to be somebody else's house, or if we need to paint the house because of resale value or something like that, then we will certainly hire it to be done, because I am just absolutely worn out after climbing up and down, whether it was in the A-frame configuration or the vertical extension ladder configuration. My knees, my ankles, my feet from standing on a rung of a ladder for uh, 15, 20 minutes at a time in some cases just killed my arches. And so I was actually glad, and I think I actually posted this on Discord this morning, that I often I often dread Sunday evening, Sunday late afternoon, Sunday evening, because it means the weekend's over, right? I was actually glad to see Sunday evening come around, because I knew that I was done for the weekend. I could go back to work. I could lick my wounds. I could rest and recuperate, and basically get ready for quite possibly this next weekend. I'm not sure if we're gonna be doing any of this the weekend of the 5th and 6th of October, which obviously you're going to be watching this video after that particular weekend if I stick to my schedule. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming up on the magic number of 30, and I like to keep my episodes under 30 minutes. And I think I've kind of been blabbering on here. But anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching my videos, for watching my episodes, and for commenting, following me over on Discord and everything. I do appreciate that. I enjoy interacting with you all. And I will just basically close things out and tell you all thank you again for watching. I hope that you all are having a wonderful week, and I look forward to visiting with you in an episode very, very soon here on Lone Oak Farm. And until that time, I hope that you'll take good care of yourself, and God bless you all. And as I always say, and Duckzorly makes fun of me, bye-bye for now.